Hello, welcome. Since it is the beginning of a new semester, I thought I would record a video of how I think is a good way to set up your computer for a BCC, especially for any coding projects, but to be honest, in my opinion, for any project. And so that the thing I show you is pretty fair because my usual computer has a lot of stuff already set up. I have a brand new virtual machine here, and I will go through some tools that I think can make your life easier. And the first tool we want to install right now is a text editor. Um, Text editor, what is that? Usually if you create a text document like so, new text document, we can see there's this like wonderful edit thing um, that we have in Windows, and we could in theory even install something here or write all our code in this one. That is not usually what you want to do. There are way better programs to do that, and there are multiple ones, but I think, at least at the beginning, the easiest and fastest and best one for you to use would be Visual Studio Code, which we can get to just do a quick search for Visual Studio Code. It's a product by Microsoft, but it is open source, it is completely free, so we don't have to be frightened of anything. I will quickly download it and then install it. Okay, so the download is done. I'll open the executable file, accept agreement, next. Right now I don't care, I just install it on this computer with the default settings, so you don't have to be afraid of anything here. And let's let the installation process run. And once it's done, it looks like this. And we can then directly launch this. So, quick look. This is our text editor here. And the next thing I will do is I will not use Copilot. I would advise you to, like, at least in the first semester, do not use anything to help you code. The exercises are easy enough, and if you rely too much on AI too early, you will just have a harder time later. I will, for my theme, choose a light theme because it's easier on the eyes on here, but if you are a dark theme user, go ahead. I was until recently a dark theme user, but my eyes got worse, and I think it's also better on videos. So go here to the next one, and here it asks us to already install Git. So we will click on this button to install Git. You might ask yourself, what even is Git? It is a source code management program, and generally a program for you to manage files that you can then also sync remotely so that you don't lose anything, and also that you don't lose your progress. So this is what I really want to like get you to use is start with Git as early as possible. It is a bit like scary at first, but it is actually just a few commands. So since this is a Windows machine, I just like clicked on here by installing on Windows on this git scm download win, opens up here, and then we click here to download the latest version, should be totally fine, and install the next program. And now it is getting installed. Also, I choose all the default things here. I keep Vim here, let Git decide. and I will not think about any special things right now. Except here, I want to use the Windows default console and install everything. So basically, except this one setting where I prefer to have the default console of Windows, I just clicked on um, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, and go ahead. So nothing special there. And now, get this done. Was to show me the release notes, and I can now also do that with Visual Studio Code, as you saw it, and now just shows me this HTML page here, and you can see one of the cool features is the correct syntax highlighting. It's already there. Okay, so, but why did we do that? We did that so that we now have Git installed, and the UAS, so DFH, has Gitlab instance where every student can just log in with their student credentials, and also the lecturers can log in, and everybody working at DFH can log in there. And you can find that one at git.nwt.afhstp.ac.at. And you'll see a site like this, and here with the FH Campus login, if then it asks you to either log in, or like I am already logged in there, then it just goes on there. And if you don't have any projects, like I have with this account I'm using here, don't have any projects on the FH Git, you should see something like that with a greeting here. And I will now also show you how I would, for example, do the first exercise um, in any subject that I have with coding. Let's just imagine somebody asked us to create a simple web page, no styling, no nothing, just a simple HTML page, and how I would do that with using Git so that I will never lose it. If my PC crashes, I don't care about that because I will also have it at the GitLab. And if I make a mistake and I need to go back to a version, it's all fine. We can all do that. And so I will just create a project, which I say is a blank project. Call it my first demonstrator. So here, just pick a project name. The visibility I leave it private because this will be just a project for me, and in case that you work on a project for where you just have your source code that you use for your assignments, you can just keep it at private as well. And I will then create the private. Yeah, I need to pick a group, which is just my own user. So this will just be your username, so probably something like CC, whatever, and your number. For me, I have this cool LB Becker username, and I create a project. Okay, so what do that? What did this do? This just created a project with a README file in there, and we can now use that. We can see some warnings up here because we are using the single sign-on. We need to probably set up a access token later when we want to push, but let's go there once we need it. So let's get this down to the computer here. So we can see there's this button here with code. And here I can say I want to clone the code. I will use HTTPS for now because it is probably a bit easier than using SSH keys, even though SSH keys are not hard and recommended as the thing you should use. Doing it with HTTPS is even easier. So I will say use the clone with HTTPS, copy the URL here, and now I want this on my computer somewhere. And to do that, I will open up the good old Explorer, and for now I just go to home and let's say go to document, create a new folder here, which I call Git. You don't need to call it that, you can call it any way you want, but I usually have that in my, whenever I use something on my system, I usually have a Git folder where all the repositories I clone are in there. Then I go with a right click here, click on open in terminal, and this opens a PowerShell that is in this folder. So now I will use the PowerShell to enter a command, which will be git clone, and then I right click to post the URL that I copied first in here, and then this command will tell me, oh, you don't have a token. So I will say, okay, we need the token. So I will put my email address here, which should be lbbecke@fhstp.ac.at, which is the email address. And it asked me for a token before. So let's go back in our browser, go here, log in, click on the document, and let's get a personal access token. So I click on this setup personal access token here, but we could also go there with the normal navigation where I could go onto my user, I think. Then yeah, on this user icon here, on the preferences, and here there is this access, there's this access token field where we can also go. So multiple ways to get where we want to be, and now we are here. So I want to say, okay, I want a personal access token, and I will add this new token. We'll just say this is my demo token, and here we have something like, oh, what can this user do? And I will just say, okay, we want to read. Actually, for now, we just click on everything, so the user has all the rights that my user has. Don't worry, that's not a lot anyways, so that's okay. And we will create a token. Now, the token is here, and I can copy the token. This token, once I leave this site, like once I leave this page, I will never ever again have this token. So make sure to like copy this token, save it in like a password manager, write it down or something when you really use it. For right now, because this is a demo, I will just copy this one over, and now copy it in here, click the sign in button, and as you saw, the command now ran. It says are receiving objects. That just means everything is done. And now, as a next step, I will just open VS Code. So go to Visual Studio Code, open it, and I will then move to the folder that I now have. So I'm gonna open, in documents, I have Git, I have my first demonstrator, and here there is a folder now. It asks me if I want to trust the authors, because there is some files here and it doesn't know where they come from, but they are mine. So I just say yes, I trust the authors. And for now, I will write a quick homepage, a quick index HTML, and we'll say doc type, HTML, whatever. I will not be too correct here now with this, but let's put a paragraph in here. I'll use a body. I use a p tag, and I will say hello. This is a page. Save this one, and so that we can also see that this works, I will click here on open with. Actually, I will probably need to open up my browser and say, then I want to go there. Since I don't want to reconfigure this right now, so I will just open Edge and say right click, copy path here, and in the browser I will just go to this HTML file, and we can see, hey, I created this web page, and it just shows me the text that's in this web page, which is pretty neat. And now I want to save this web page also on the FHGit. And to make it not too complicated, I will just show you how to use the version control thing that's inside VS Code. So we can click here on the source control thing, and it here says, okay, there's a change in this file. I click on this plus, which means this change will now be staged, meaning, hey, I changed this file and I want to persist this. Then I write the commit message here, which just write something like, okay, this commit creates index HTML with retail. Okay, and then what we want to do is click on commit. And what we see here is that we first need to configure our username and our user email. It will then just like also show us here the page if we click on learn more on how to do that. But the important commands are actually those two. And we can now use VS Code to directly use them in our terminal as well. So the first one was git config. Now -- global means everywhere. And if I'm correct, it is user.name that we want to have. And here I can just say, okay, user.name equals, I put my name, which would be Rebecca. And then apparently I did something wrong. Yeah, it's not with equals, it's user.name, and then you put them in the double quotes, your name. And the second one is user.email, which in my case is the lb@fhsp.ac.at. Crazy. So after doing this, you can click on commit and it will just work. Now, you can also see here in the commit graph that it committed this. And then there is one last thing we have to do. So if I now click on the browser again and go to the Git again, we see that there's nothing in here yet. But if we now click on sync changes, there it says, okay, this will pull and push commits from and to origin main, which is what we want. So this means wherever this originally came from, add the changes there. I just clicked on this, and now if I see, reload this, we can see the index HTML is also up here, which means now this is also on the machine, not only on my machine, but it is also stored on the FH server. And then there are some cool things now. So, and if I now say here, okay, I write some weird error, I did this, and there's my change, and I want to persist this change, I just say my change in the, just save it. Did it not get that I am in the correct file? Here. Then, yeah, I have to refresh. This changed. So now I changed stage notes changes, say my change, and I sync those changes. Now we see, okay, something changed again, and it is now again at the same state on the server. We can now, if we look at this file with the latest commits, my change, see exactly what was changed in this thing. And especially great, sometimes you make some mistakes and you save them, but if I do that and now I have a mistake in here and I say, okay, that's not actually what I wanted, what I can do is here in my graph, I can see the previous one, say, okay, this is actually what I wanted. This is actually the commit that I wanted, and so I can now right click here and click on checkout detached and have everything back as it was before. Now there's many more things you can do with Git, but the most important one in my opinion is that you start using it very early. You can commit often, push often, and have everything of your projects not only locally on your machine, and there may be just one file that you save over and over again, but you can actually go to the previous versions of your program should you have some mistakes, and it also will later on make it way easier for you to share your projects and do what many more and many interesting things. But that would be it for now. I hope this was helpful to at least someone. Start very early with this. It's very ask the older students. They probably wished to have learned this sooner, but yeah, I wanted to make this video to just like give all of you a head start, because I know that this is not necessarily on the curriculum, but later on you will need it, and there you will ask yourself, why didn't they teach us this earlier? So here I taught it to you now a little bit earlier. See you all.